Tinubu don't enter wahala. Tinubu don't enter Donald Trump wahala. Now make for you for no say this one, it be like say not be only Donald Trump self. Now all the US government, because Donald Trump don't post, the Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, himself don't post. Say they don't want the killing of Christians for Nigeria. And that if Tinubu not stop, they go invade Nigeria. Now this has divided Nigeria. Some people are happy and clapping and saying finally help has come for Nigeria. And some other persons are saying, no, wait a minute, what is really going on here? But certainly this is not good book. It doesn't look good for the APC and for Tinubu at all. Somehow it looks as though the Mumu ticket, Muslim ticket of Tinubu, it looks like it is backfiring. Or is it? Many people say Tinubu is a master strategist. Now it looks as though his strategy for the Muslim ticket is backfiring. Because if you remember, Tinubu, through his spokesperson, Bayo Onanuga, through the Minister of Information, the Minister of Information had to go on CNN to say there is no Christian genocide here. The National Assembly, led by Akpabio, they set up a team of senators to visit US to complain and say, no, there's nothing like genocide against Christians in Nigeria, if you remember. And remember too, many of the APC and Tinubu supporters were saying this is a master stroke. It shows how much of a strategist Tinubu really is. Okay, let's fast forward to yesterday. Donald Trump, it will appear, after Texas Republican senator actually moved a bill or a motion to designate Nigeria as CPC. CPC not be Congress of Progressive Change. No. And not be Consumer Protection Council. This CPC is a country of particular concern for genocide against Christian in Nigeria. That's the designation. Now, what does that designation even mean? Because when somebody like Senator Ted Cruz pushes such a bill, it's a very heavy bill. Senator Ted Cruz not be picking for US Senate. Remember, Senator Ted Cruz even ran for presidency against this same Donald Trump. They are all Republican. And if you also remember, Tinubu also sent his newfound protege, Reno Omokri, to, do that propaganda where he claimed that he went and invited those guys from America. And they tried to create some kind of propaganda to tell Nigerians that, no, there's no genocide here. Oh, this guy that we brought is a close associate of Ted Cruz, and they are close to Trump, which means that Tinubu was probably hoping that Reno Omokri can use his connect to convince Ted Cruz, to convince Donald Trump that there is no genocide here. But it looks like all of those now have backfired because Donald Trump just issued a very clear statement on Truth Social. And Pete Hegseth, many of you don't know Pete Hegseth. He is the U.S. Secretary of War. They used to call it Secretary of Defense. But Donald Trump has changed it to Secretary of War, meaning that they're ready or they are preparing for war. Pete Hegseth also repeated what Donald Trump said. The Secretary of State too, the same thing. So really, the optics is not good for Tinubu and for APC at all. Truth be told, the optics is not good. Now, I said earlier, is it or could it be that Tinubu's Mumu ticket, when I say Mumu ticket, I don't mean Mumu in that, well, it could actually be said to be Mumu, but I mean Mumu in terms of Muslim ticket. Could that strategy be backfiring? Because right now, how do you convince somebody like Donald Trump that you, who in a country like Nigeria that has 50-50 split between Muslim and Christian, you are a Muslim and I'm talking about Tinubu, now decide that the best thing to do is to go and pick a Shettima who is also a Muslim. A Shettima who is also a Muslim. And to even make matters worse, many of you know that the rumors are there. They are hanging. They are thick. That Shettima, together with, what is this other guy? Ali Modu Sharif, that they are linked to sponsoring Boko Haram. Remember, in fact, during Jonathan, the rumors almost became public news that Shettima was sponsoring Boko Haram. That news is there. And Tinubu knows about that hanging sentiment, but still went ahead and picked Shettima in a country where it has never happened. In a country where there is 50-50 split. In a country where Boko Haram is already ravaging and the sentiment is that Muslims are trying to kill Christians. Tinubu still went and picked Shettima. And people, the APC supporters, hailed it. But now it looks as though that is backfiring, because how do you explain to people that you are not in support of genocide against Christians when, number one, you are hiding that there is no genocide? Number two, you went and picked a Muslim vice candidate in a country that is 50-50 split. How do you explain? You see that sometimes some of the things that you call smart on the part of Tinubu, are they really smart? Now, let's even look at that and put that aside. You see, all of this talk that Donald Trump is talking now, some people are clapping for him. You know, when you are against Tinubu, this is good news. But you know, it is one thing to be against Tinubu, and it's another thing to be for Nigeria. Those are two different things. Some people are just against Tinubu, so even when something is not good for Nigeria, they don't care. But there are some people that are against Tinubu because of Nigeria. So when something that is not good for Tinubu, but it's also not good for Nigeria happens, how do those people feel, think? How? Is this thing good for Nigeria? Does it mean that Donald Trump is interested in peace in Nigeria? Does it mean that America, because not just Donald Trump now, we have had Donald Trump, we have had the minister, their Secretary of War is like the Minister of Defense here. So Pete Hegseth is like our own Minister of Defense, which is their Secretary of War, right? He has also said the same thing. A Senator Ted Cruz, that is a main voice in their Senate, more like an Oshomole in our own, has also said the same thing. So you can say that it's not even only Donald Trump. You can say it is all of the US government that is throwing their weight behind this anti-Nigeria. They have said they will invade, though, in case you don't know. They have said they will invade. Pete Hegseth said they are preparing to step in. Is this good for Nigeria? Is it right for America to do? If you look at the whole sentiment, particularly if you're a Christian in communities where all of these things are happening, you will say it's a welcome development. And of course, would it not be? Should you continue to watch as people in the name of Islam kill your own Christian brothers and sisters? Would that be a wise thing to do? Would that be a wise thing to do? It is hard to condemn somebody who is speaking against this genocide as the pastor from Borno has been doing. It's hard. But then again, let's look at it from the other angle, from the other side. Remember that you had these mercenaries, executive outcome, that were hired by Jonathan to stop Boko Haram in the Northeast. After Obama refused to sell weapons to Nigeria government to take care or eliminate Boko Haram. Remember? So America stopped Nigeria from fighting Boko Haram. Then Nigeria now used Pastor Richard Jaffer's private jet, and then some NIA official, I can't remember that story very clearly, where the plane was caught in South Africa with dollars that they wanted to use to buy weapons from Russia, you know. They couldn't succeed because they couldn't get the weapons. And even when they tried to get through black market, That effort was also foiled when the plane was exposed in South Africa. But then again, what happened? They now decided to engage executive outcome. In 2 weeks, executive outcome performed. But that was just before the election. If you remember, the election were postponed. Now, Buhari came in and Buhari pursued executive outcome. The same Buhari that campaigned on Boko Haram and how he criticized Jonathan for using Boko Haram to punish his people. Even Shetima is on record as saying that, oh, Jonathan, because he's from the south and a Christian, he's using Boko Haram to kill the northern Muslims. He said so. Now, that same Boko Haram that the US refused to sell weapons to Nigerian government under Jonathan to eradicate, that same Boko Haram now has been used and is continued to be used against Christians in Nigeria. And the US government is complaining that, there's genocide against Christians. When Senator Ted Cruz was still in that Senate at that time, in fact, he was part of the people that voted. Senator Ted Cruz was part of the people that voted to say that, no, they should not sell weapons to Nigerian government to tackle Boko Haram. Now, the same Senator Ted Cruz and Donald Trump are coming to say, there's genocide against Christians. When you refuse to sell weapons to Nigerian government to dislodge Boko Haram, what were you expecting them to do? Now, put that one on one side. Remember the U.S. Senator, is it Perry? John Perry or something Perry, that came to expose USAID, that they were sponsoring Boko Haram. Remember that? In fact, there is also the interview that was granted to the CEO of Executive Outcome on Al Jazeera, where he openly said that it was the US government that instructed Buhari to chase away Executive Outcome because the US government were benefiting and sponsoring Boko Haram. That interview is still online. They never pull them down. In fact, I have that video somewhere on this channel. Remember that. Now, the same US government is coming all of a sudden to say, we will step in. And they can step in, there's nothing anybody can do. If you guys remember in 2020, October 29, October 30, the US government entered Borno to rescue their own people. Even Buhari did not know. The Minister of Defense or the Chief of Defense Staff then was on TV and they were asking him. He said, no, nothing like that. Until the news came out and he said, oh, it is true. So even the Chief of Defense Staff, the Director of Military Intelligence, the National Security Advisor, the Chief of Army Staff, the police, the DSS, NI, none of them knew that US Special Forces entered Borno to go and rescue their own people. In fact, the same thing happened also in Niger. Now you ask yourself, these US people that can enter and nobody knows, why didn't they enter to stop all of this? Why didn't they provide intelligence to stop all of this? That's one question. But then again, you ask, if they say they will enter, they will enter. But the question is, are they entering to defend the interest of Christians for real? Are they entering to defend the interest of Nigerians for real? Or are they entering to defend their own interest? If you don't know, there is the rumor now going on that it is because of Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger that they are trying to set up camps so that they can invade Niger from Nigeria. In fact, the Niger president is on record for saying that, there is a town in Borno where French military officials have dislodged the whole village and they are using bandits to chase away people from entering. And they are setting up camp there to invade Niger. And they are claiming that even Buhari is aware. Is it likely that Donald Trump is trying to do that to invade now under the guise of Christian genocide so that they can support French forces to dislodge Russia and dislodge these pro-Russian leaders of Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger so that they can regain access to their uranium, to their gold? Is it possible? Nigerians, this is time for us to think. I know, in fact, if it were only against Tinubu, I would be clapping and dancing and doing legwork right now. But if we look at it again, is it bad for us? Let me know your thoughts, because these are conversations that we should be having. Is it good that the US government should invade Nigeria, or is it bad? If they invade, are they really interested in the interest in saving Christians, or they are trying to use it as cover to invade Niger so that they can regain the uranium and the resources of those countries? Is it possible? Why is it that this US government that says they like us, why can't they sell weapons to Nigerian government to dislodge these people? Could it be because they know something, that if they sell the weapons, the Nigerian government will use it to oppress Nigerians? Because that's what it seems to be. If it is protesters, the Nigerian government and the military, the security agencies, they come out with full force. Look at the recent Free Nnamdi Kanu protest. You will be shocked at the kind of machines they brought out against